Hey, how would you like to have everything in the world all for you? I'll tell you a trick that made it work and explain the reason why the greatest investing principle of all time is coming up today on Emerging Technology with Warren Whitlock. Hi, I'm Warren Whitlock, and I'm here to tell you the story of how I learned about the great power of compound interest, and more importantly, the math it takes to make exponential growth work. You're probably familiar with it. They call it the hockey stick sometimes, where the growth of a company or sales or population or whatever is going along, getting a little higher. And after a period of time, suddenly shoots up. That's where the exponential growth comes, but that's not really what exponential growth tells us. It's another way that we see it easily is something called a logarithmic scale. And when you have a logarithmic scale, they have to change the units from just 1, 2, 3, like that, and then go up to 1, 10, 100, 1,000, and goes on up like that. Okay, so that's stuff that, hey, we heard that in school. But let me tell you about the story that really locked it in for me. And I think you probably heard this one before, but let's discuss it and then bring it back to the kind of things that we talk about on this podcast. What happened was there was a king that was very impressed with the work of a man, and they were playing chess, and they had a chessboard out, 8 squares by 8 squares. Some are dark, some are light. That's it. And so the man said, yes, I would like a reward from you. All I want is to put a grain on the first square of the chessboard. And then on the second square, give me 2 grains. And then on the next square, double that again, which would be 4 grains of rice. Hey, 4 grains of rice is going to be cheap. I'm going to pay this guy off cheap. Uh-huh. And the thing is, by the time it gets to the 10th square, there's 512 grains. Now, I've never taken a bowl of rice and counted the grains, but 512 still doesn't sound like a whole lot. I don't think that makes a whole bowl. But the next one, 11, was over 1,000 grains. By the time it got to square 20, it's 524,000 grains, or roughly 500,000. The next one, of course, would be a full million. And then by square 40, it's 1 trillion grains of rice. That's a whole lot of rice. That still seems to me to be a small enough number that it could be contained in the output of a factory of rice or something. But that's only square 40. There's still 14 more squares. By square 64, it equals 18 quintillion grains. And that is, let me see, it would be 2 to the 64th, of course, because what happens is you double it 64 times, it gets to be a number that would be like the weight of the earth. I'm sure if you check my math, I'm probably wrong here on something. These numbers are so large, I have trouble comprehending them. But often, especially in some of the technology like cryptocurrency, we're told about something going up 100% in a day. I've just seen a robot, a AI quant is what it's called, that when it invests, it buys a stock that is shooting up, and they can see 100% gain in a matter of minutes or hours. And if you can make 100% gain, if you put in $1 and you get back 2, doesn't sound like much. And if you're able to afford to put in $100 and it comes back as 200, that's still nice. That is a phenomenal return if you don't have to wait for the return. Because what happens is you do that once a day, and in 64 days, you're up to the quintillion kind of number. You definitely have made a lot on that. What we're looking at right now, this has not been released to where you can use it yet, and certainly will be something I'll show you in a future episode. I'm an advisor to the company, but in my calculations, there's some settings on it where you can not lose any money. Because if you invest $1 and you lose everything 9 out of 10 times, and then the 10th time it makes double in an hour, you're still going to make a lot of money. And then deciding how much of a return you get before you get rid of it. So this got me thinking about exponential and what that really means for us to be able to get something done. If we're going to turn this into movement, if you take a step, and let's say your step is 3 feet, and then the next step is double, that would be 6 feet. And then the next step is double, and that would be, what is that, 12 feet. And then again, using the same kind of math, in a few steps, you've just gone beyond anything anybody can count. It doesn't take that long. Remember that a number 10 step, it's only 512 times what you started with. That still seems phenomenal. And when I look at some of the investments I've been involved with, we've seen some of that sometime. I've also seen investments where I was rewarded for the work I had done on the project, shares or tokens or whatever, a ledger entry of some value. And I've seen that go down by 99.999% to where what was worth, hey, great, we're issuing this at 10 cents and it'll go to $1. And that, boy, we'll all be rich. And I've seen that 10 cents turn into 0.0001 cents. And of course, if you have 1,000 at that price, you don't have anything. It's not even a penny. It's very important to see exponential growth also means you can have exponential loss. So that's what, again, we're looking at this trading bot of where it will settle down to something where somebody could make a return on a regular basis. But if you double your money every day, you are beyond anything somebody can calculate within a very short period of time. So we know that the market is not going to allow that to work. At some point, you're going to get too much of it. Everybody's going to learn how to do it, and it's just explodes. The math doesn't work out on anything. It's one of the limits is that the math only will allow so much to happen. And then the market has to have somebody selling what you're buying and buying what you're selling. So if it was just you and you had a way that you could double your market, double even something like 10% a day, I've seen that. I've seen 100% a day, but 10% a day they tell me they're getting when they're trading. And I say, no, it's just not possible. At 10% a day, I actually put it on a spreadsheet once, and it's pretty easy to do. You enter a cell with one, and then the next one you put 110%, and then the next one you go 110% of the former one, and it keeps growing. And I believe what we came up with for 10% was an unbelievable amount of money when you get up to about a year and a half. And it may not have been that long. It might have been 6 months. So be wary when somebody tells you that they're getting returns of anything more than 1% a day. Now, this trading bot is going out there and looking for the stuff that's new, that was selling for a penny and went up to 10 cents and then right back down to 2 cents and stayed there and holding and maybe even gone down to below what it sold for initially. And the trading bot will pick up on some of those and allow you to have some return on it. I'm just fascinated by what that's going to be. But let's talk about how that goes with other technology. Right now, AI is getting better at these kind of rates. We're talking about it being 10 times as good in a matter of months. And it's getting to where it's really hard to see as more and more information is ingested into the AI engines and they think faster, pretty much competing with a PhD on any topic. And if you think about what a human can do, you can get a double PhD, and there are people that have gotten triple PhDs so that they are able to do that. And a PhD takes other things besides being able to pass a test. but being able to write at that level and being able to understand a topic at that level, right now, AI can, especially when you start breaking it into agents, beat every subject PhD. And you'll have that all at your fingertips here pretty soon. That alone is not going to change everything, but that's just one of the things that are going on. The technology growth of, let's get back to cryptocurrency and the number of tokens that are coming out. Especially when you get into the meme tokens, where somebody says, I'm going to be president, so I need my picture on a token. And another project I'm looking at, we are talking about producing 1 billion new tokens that'll be pictures. These will be tradable and have some small inherent value in that they could be converted to cash. But basically, they're like trading cards, your favorite sports person on a piece of cardboard, and that becomes worth something over time because you got the rookie of the year from 1940. It might be a little bit old, but did they have trading cards back then? At any rate, you get the trading card for football, and you got to keep that, and you really love it. And if you need rice, you're probably better off getting it from the chessboard than from trying to trade in your trading cards when you're really desperate to find something to eat. Could be worth a lot of money, could be nothing. Some of the crypto is going like that, but the rate of growth of the individual tokens, of not copies of the same token. We're not talking about 1 billion of a Bitcoin kind of a token. It can't be 1 billion Bitcoin, by the way. They're limited to 21,000. That's the other thing that's needed to see the price go up fast or exponentially. How do we manage all this? The AI is going to help us manage that. And so our ability for productive work, to get things done, to make the world a better place, to feed everybody, house everybody, make sure that there's peace everywhere, the things that need to be done. If everybody's eating well, everybody has a place to stay and is able to take care of their family and has some freedom to travel, we've conquered everything it takes for people to exist. Sure, we'll want more. Everybody's going to want more, but it's going to be possible. I think one of the things we're going to see grow exponentially is some of the alternatives to getting energy. And actually, nuclear is not an alternative, but I think we're due for some exponential growth there. We need 3 times as much electricity in the next 30 years, and I think it's very possible. Clean, cheap, not spewing out a lot of waste, and those systems are being developed. So there's another one that grows like that. Nanotechnology being the ultimate. I refer to nanotechnology all the time when I'm speaking about the future. It is perhaps my favorite emerging technology. AI and blockchain are here. Nanotechnology is here. It's available in some materials, but it switches off all of the physics we worry about for things, everyday objects, and allows us to grow something from scratch and turn it into whatever we want. And that's a broad view of where we're going. But I think my favorite example when I learned about nanotechnology was it's the material science that allows us to take all the materials that are in, say, a car and turn that into 10 cars that are, of course, lighter. They will be cheaper. They will be faster. They will be stronger, safer. And so we can get 10 cars for one. We won't do that. It's not like we're going to have a factory that takes a car and puts out 10 cars, but it's the equivalent, the materials in it. And again, exponentially better than things have been in the past. We've seen that happen with technology before. What the difference is right now is we're on that curve where things start going sky high, and you just can't imagine the amount of growth. After many years, decades, centuries of growing at a certain rate, suddenly it takes off. Financial markets, I've seen some numbers that make sense, that the growth of the world domestic product, that is the sum total of everything we do, instead of growing at 3%, somewhere like that over the last 200 years worldwide, it averages out to be that. and is showing the math where that could double and be 7% better per year. Again, not quite exponential, but when you start looking at things over a period of time and you go from 3% to 7%, suddenly things start growing a lot faster. So while some technology may mean some hurt for some of us if we're not prepared to work in the new economy, at some point it's going to even out. And the abundance, the products, the services, the freedom that we can allow to everyone on earth is just going to grow faster than anything we can imagine. And that's why I focus my time on emerging technology. This has been Emerging Technology with Warren Whitlock. I'll see you next time.